that shows all of these principles in action. And literally, I think we can go through all of that in 6 or 7 minutes. And then I'm going to jump into all the different website reviews, and I'm going to try to do that in sort of a rapid-fire scenario. Let's begin with the objectives. So I think the first important thing to realize for any business software website is that there are multiple objectives. Certainly one of them is lead generation, but certainly there are others. If you currently have customers, you want some way for them to be able to access your customer support team, so whether that's a chat or some link to customer service somewhere from your About Us page or your footer. That's certainly a goal. SEO is a goal. Recruiting new employees, so having maybe a careers section and stuff like that. If you're growing, that's probably also a goal. And I would throw out PR, whether you're showing your press releases, your blog, your social media links, anything you can do to try to engage journalists and bloggers to cover you is going to be another objective you're going to try to accomplish over your website. And I'm probably missing someone here as well. But of all these objectives, we believe, and our premise is, by far the most important is lead gen. It is reaching your target market, potential prospects, future customers, and designing your website in a way that optimizes and maximizes the number of them that actually become sales leads. So again, the primary objective of a business software website is lead generation. And it's very important to recognize that at a high level so that when you're designing your website, you know what your primary goal is. So let's jump into an example, Fluid Surveys, and I'd like to show you the elements that they do that that lead to their success for lead gen. So we're going to switch over to the Fluid Surveys. Come on. Okay. So they don't have to go over. Okay. All right. So bear with me for a moment here while I try to bring their site up. We're showing everyone their site, though. Okay. All right. So Fluid Surveys. There are 3 elements in common for any business software website. And Fluid Surveys embodies all 3 of those. So first and foremost, the number 1 is copy that is clear, compelling, and concise, that really speaks to your target audience. And Fluid Surveys does a great job of this. So you look at their main headline, online survey software at its best, and their subhead, create online, offline, mobile, and tablet surveys and forms in seconds. Simple and easy, get started for free. So I can read their copy, their intro copy, in literally 5-6 seconds. And it tells me that I'm at the right place, and it speaks to me with words that are going to resonate with their target market, stuff like get started for free, simple and easy, and most importantly, online survey software, which is probably what I'm looking for if I come to their site. So they're able to get that message across to me very clearly and succinctly, and in a pretty powerful way using text that's going to appeal to me. So that's number 1. And it didn't take them paragraphs to do it. They could literally get it done, and I don't know how many words that is, maybe 15 words for all of that. So very well done on their part. That's number 1. Number 2, they have a strong call to action tied to a short form. So their call to action, what they want everyone to do when they come to their site is click on that green button, fill out the short form and click on that green button. So their call to action is start for free. So a few things about this call to action that makes it so good and so powerful. Number 1, you can't miss it. So it's a big button, and it's green. And the color itself, there actually is a proper color for the button that you want to stand out. And the importance of the color is it must contrast with the colors of the rest of the site. If the rest of your site is green, green would be a bad choice for your color of your button. But they have no green on the rest of their site, so green is a great color for them. Again, it's a big button. It's above the fold. I don't need to scroll down to see it. And it has the word free in it. And almost every call to action that we see in the business software industry is either going to be related to a free trial or a free demo. So if you don't offer a free trial, you can offer a free demo. So request free demo would also be a great call to action here. And that call to action needs to be tied to a short form. So in their case, they've actually put the form on the page itself. I don't think that is required. I've also seen it done just as often, probably even more often, behind the button. So you have to click on the button to get to the form. I think either one works. You can be sure this company is very savvy about their website, so my guess is they've tested everything, including this. And for them, it works better to have the form on the same page as the button. And that's great. It's not mandatory, generally speaking. I think it's worth testing for everyone. But notice that their form is just 3 fields. So then they want to collect email, password, and phone. As a general rule, I think 4 or 5 fields is fine. So first name and last name, email, phone, maybe company name. That's usually about it. Are the fields that we recommend for capturing a lead. So again, strong call to action tied to a short form. That's the second element, and they do a great job on that front. The third element is trust elements. So there's a number of things. So when someone comes to your website, particularly for the first time, they are almost always, if they're a prospect, they're not really overly aware of you. Maybe they've seen you around in some places or whatnot, but they're not overly familiar with your company. And because they're not overly familiar with your company or your website, it's very important to help them to trust you, to gain trust in you. And there are several things that you can do for that. Number one, you'll notice that they have displayed logos of some of their top customers. And if you've got well-known customers, then that's a great tactic to use. And they've done that. So you'll see 5 of their customer logos down below the picture of that lady. So that's one. Those serve as trust elements. Another trust element is to the left of those logos, you see the phrase, over 100,000 happy customers use Fluid surveys. Again, you don't have to have over 100,000 customers. You could have hundreds of customers and still use a phrase like over hundreds of happy customers use the name of your product. That works great too. It's important to let your visitor know that you're not a fly-by-night company, that you didn't just start up yesterday, that you don't just have 3 customers. So if you can do that, then I think you should do that. And it acts as a great trust element. There are other trust elements on this page. If you scroll down, you can see a testimonial by Josh at Groupon. You see his picture, and you see a great testimonial by him. If you scroll down to the footer, you can see their social media icons, and those act as an additional trust element. If you scroll back to the top, and again, looking at the top of the page, her picture serves as a trust element. It's amazing what the picture of another human being can do to help people engage with your site. And even just a little minor thing about her, she's actually looking at the form. And I've seen research that suggests that shows that can help conversion rates as well. And a conversion rate obviously being the percentage of your web visitors that complete the form. So picture of a person can very much help. The last thing that I would say as a trust element is I think having a good current professional overall website design in and of itself serves as a trust element. So if it looks like your website was designed back in the 90s or even early 2000s, that's hurting you. If people will come to your site and they'll look at you and they'll judge you based on that. They'll look at you as being outdated or cryptic, They might wonder if your software looks like that too. So I think having a good, solid overall website design acts as an additional trust element. So with that as our framework, I'd like to go in and I'm going to start doing the different website reviews for each of the one, and we can use this as, again, as a reference point along the way. The first one we're going to start out with is BSI. And I'd like for everyone to take just a few seconds to review this page a little bit, bsi-entropy.com. And you'll notice on here that they do compliance management software. And if you go down a little bit, you can see all the content on this page. At the very bottom of the page is a request a demo button, which is their call to action. When I click on that request demo button, it takes me to a form. And on this form are roughly a dozen, maybe even a little bit more than a dozen different fields. So going back to our home page, sorry, here, let's get back to the original page we were on. All right, let's just try that. So sticking to, let's go back to this as a home page. Why on earth did that not be coming up? So let's look at this as a home page. So again, the original call to action that I looked at was well below the fold. It was way down at the bottom. I had to really scroll down to get to it. Actually, it's slightly frustrating. This is their home page, and I'm not able to get back. There it is. Sorry about that. We had an internet connection issue there for a moment. Here's the page they submitted for a request. So when you look at this page, let's go back to the three principles that I mentioned earlier. Is the content clear, compelling, and concise? I think there's probably room for improvement on here. They go right into essentially paragraphs of information. There's not a headline and there's not a subhead that tells me what this product does. I have to start reading paragraphs. And it's important to note that prospects are lazy, that people will, right out of the gate, when they first get to your website, they probably won't start reading all of this. You have to draw them in first. They might read paragraphs of information later on your website, but at the beginning they don't. So I believe this is too much information to put at the very beginning, and they have not done a good job in highlighting the most important things to their end users. So I think their copy could be probably more compelling and more concise, number one. Number two, their call to action is way down here at the bottom. I have to scroll all the way down here to get to request a demo. It's a relatively small button at the bottom. The color does not contrast with the rest of the site. And then when I click on it, it brings me to a very long form. And I have to imagine that most of the fields on here are not necessary. They ask for title, and I don't know why they need to know Mr., Ms., Mrs., all the different options they have on here, honorable. I don't see these as being at all important to the marketing or sales team at the company. We do have first name, last name, email, and phone, which is good. But then they go and ask for company information, company name I'm fine with. But all of these address details, I doubt are necessary. My guess is they're not sending them direct mail pieces. They're probably not sending them CDs in the mail. And maybe it's letting them know where in the world this person is, but you don't need to ask that in a form. You know the IP address of everyone who comes to your website, and you can use an easy IP address lookup tool to find out what country they're from, what state they're from, even what part of that state they're from, if you need to pass it on to the right salesperson for that geographic region. So you really don't need to ask for all of these fields. You can just use your IP address to identify this. And then you've got a couple additional fields here at the bottom, number of employees. You're clearly trying to qualify the lead. And then maybe some additional information. The more fields you have, the less likely someone is to complete your form. So I, as a general rule, caution against all of those fields. You can always qualify them in a follow-up email. And then we go back to this page, and there's no trust elements whatsoever. I don't see any testimonials. I don't see a picture of anyone. I don't see number of customers, logos, anything. There's really no trust elements whatsoever. So I think this page has a lot of room for improvement. And yeah, I think that covers that one pretty well. Let's move on to the next one. ePay Suite. So again, looking down this page, we see that it is a payment solutions company. They've got a relatively short piece of copy there, end-to-end software solution designed for the automation of payment systems, e-money issuers, and payment service providers in conformity with regulatory requirements. I'm not sure how compelling that copy is. And I would imagine there's no one better than your marketing team or your sales team to be able to give you ideas for what messaging is going to resonate best with your target market. But that's messaging that I would like to use on this page. I do like the fact that you have target market information on here that can help people connect with the page and know they're in the right place. And there's a lot of additional information that's down here. This is probably less important, but my guess is most people are staying above the fold. So we're going to focus our attention up here. We do have a fairly decent call to action. You have try demo as an orange button. That's pretty good. The problem is it brings me to this page, and on this page, there's no form. You're making me click on another button somewhere on here. Let's say I click on demo version. I click on demo version, and now it looks like I'm trying to maybe schedule a demo. I'm not sure what I'm doing here. So my guess is they have a high abandon rate on this page, and they're missing lots of potential leads because there's no short form here to capture the lead. I think that's a problem. And then finally, when I go back to this page, again, the trust elements don't really stand out. I do see a few customer logos down here in the bottom right. That's pretty good. But not overly obvious. I have to scroll down to get to them. But no other trust elements. I didn't see a testimonial. I didn't see really anything else that's on here that really helped me feel comfortable on this page. So I see those as potential issues for these guys. Moving on to the next one, tour writer. Tour operator software. So I'll let everyone digest this for a few seconds. They do have, their copy's not terrible. Let's see, tour operator software, demo of tour writer. Create and manage your itineraries easily using our comprehensive itinerary software for tour operators and travel planners. That's okay. Again, I would keep coming back to what is the messaging that your prospect needs to see right away that's going to really resonate with them, the benefits they want, the pain points that they have. So I think that's okay. When we then get to looking at what their call to action is, you do have a nice try it free button over here and a request demo button over here. When I click on try it free, it brings me to a relatively short form. So it's not bad. 8 fields, could be better. I would push on them to remove country in message. I doubt they get many great messages over here. And on this page, I'd prefer to have the submit button always say what you're getting. So, you know, get free trial could be the language of the submit button. So, yeah, not bad. My guess is these guys already have decent conversion rates on their site. I wouldn't be surprised if they were up in the 5 to 10% range already. When I click on request a demo, it's asking me for a lot more fields. Even though some of these are optional, it might be a turnoff. I'm a little bit worried about that. I'm also worried about the fact that they have a how did you find us with 4 options in here, including other. It tells me that they're not tracking it automatically. You shouldn't have to ask someone how they found you. You should know that this is online advertising. This is the web. You should be able to know that automatically through cookies or analytics or other tools. So a little bit worried about that. So I think this site, you know, this is decent. It's not a bad start. There's definite areas for improvement. I would change the color of these buttons to contrast with the rest of the site. Moving on, qstrat.com. So here we have standardizing sourcing software. There's a request a demo, call to action over there on the right, not bad. Overall, pretty current, fresh look of a website. So here's, my quick feedback on these guys would be, first of all, they have all this space up here that is animated. It's changing. And the general, while a lot of designers love including animated stuff like this, the research I have seen shows that it's just generally a distraction. People see moving objects and it distracts them from what they really should be focusing in on. And from what I've seen, it doesn't work very well. So I would say I would test having something static up there. It's much closer to what your content would be. The content on here is relatively clear and concise, not too bad. It is a little bit different of a format, so I would probably test other types of content, other types of format on here. The request a demo button over here, I like the fact that it's fairly obvious. It is a button. It's a different color, orange. It brings me to a relatively short form, although after you ask for your name, email, and company, you do ask a number of other things. I'd be very curious to hear if you have tested removing all this stuff below company to see how much that lowers your abandon rate and improves your conversion rate. That's definitely something I would test. Coming back to your landing page that we're looking at, I don't see any trust elements. I'm sorry, okay, these are testimonials down below, rotating back and forth. Not bad. I think you could do better. Again, I think I'd be curious if you put a person on here, not a guy looking sideways, but an actual person looking at you, maybe even at your call to action. There's lots of different things I would test, and I really haven't mentioned this a whole lot yet, so I'll bring this up now. One of the big themes that I'm going to suggest is not really to even take my word for a lot of this, but to simply test lots of different things. Everything from the language that you use to format to colors, placement of your buttons. There's so many different things that you can test, and I would definitely recommend doing that. But my guess is these guys, again, have a decent conversion rate with this, and it's amazing what can happen just by having a button on your site that says request a demo in a fairly prominent place. My guess is they're already getting decent lead flow from this, but I think between shortening the form, adding trust elements, and playing with the format of the copy, there's lots of room for improvement as well. Moving on, we have bikerentalmanager.com for rental software. We come into here. I do see these demos and trial now buttons up in the upper right-hand corner. I do like having something up there. I've seen people pin the header to the top. That might be something for them to consider. As I come down, it looks like they've already done that. My bad. So nicely done. And this is a decent site. One issue with relying solely on the buttons in the upper right-hand corner is that can become a blind spot. A lot of people, when they come into a website, they start in the upper left-hand corner, then they go down to the body. The upper right-hand corner, because of ads, display ads, become a blind spot. So I would be curious to see what would happen if you put a trial now button down below. And also, you have rotating text on this banner here. It's not the easiest to read either, given the background. I'd be very curious if you made this static and just cleaned it up a little bit and focused in on whatever copy you thought was most compelling to see what would happen there. When I click on Trial Now, it brings me, I have to scroll down. First of all, they don't use the word free. I'd be curious if you simply added the word free to Trial Now, if that would help. And then when I scroll down, yeah, the fact that I can just give you an email address to start my trial, that's great. You don't get a shorter form than that, so I love that aspect. But I would love to see what would happen if you move that up, but also scroll down so much to see what that would do. And again, when I come back to here, I don't see a lot of, the little testimonials in the left hand that are scrolling. That's okay. Well, I think you could do more for trust elements on here, and I would play with that, play with some of the overall formatting. Those are a few things. But overall, I think this is decent. I'd be surprised if they didn't already have a, a fairly decent conversion rate, maybe mid to high single digits. Moving on, B2Wsoftware.com. So their copy looks very generic to me. Not overly compelling. Profitability starts here. Sure, we all like profits, but what's the problem that I'm having? Why am I even looking for software? What am I looking for software to do to help me? You say in your design to manage your entire estimating and bidding process. Despite its power and feature-rich functionality, is intuitive and easy to learn. Estimators can be up and running. It's not overly clear to me. I'm guessing this is like construction estimating software. It's not overly clear to me who the target market is. Is it construction firms? Like whoever it is, I think you should try to make that as clear as possible if this is an industry-specific solution. And my guess is you're targeting construction firms, maybe. But, is it small firms? Is it large firms? Is it commercial construction? Is it residential construction? The more you can really hit me with stuff about me and what I'm looking for and my needs without using a whole paragraph, that would be great. Like the fact that you've got logos of all these customers. That's wonderful. That's helpful. You got a video down there of a testimonial. That's pretty good. So these guys are doing pretty well. Watch the free demo with the form over there on the right. I'll bet these guys already have a decent conversion rate. But I think playing with copy would be helpful. Yeah, I'd probably focus my changes on copy on this one. Get a better understanding. So I think overall this is pretty good. Pretty good website. Moving on, Weight Software. Again, they've got a form right on the page over there on the right-hand side, and it's only a 4-field form, and it's sort of free download calibration and control. My guess is right out of the gate, they're going to already have a decent conversion rate, but I actually think there's a ton of room for improvement on this page. First of all, if the call to action is download something, I'm already very nervous. I don't know what. If I fill that out or click on that blue free download button, I'm already apprehensive. What am I about to download? Could it be spyware? Like, I'm already nervous. So I think if you're going to offer someone a download, like that's how they're doing, like a free trial, I would call it free trial, and let them know once they've given their user information. You can then, if they're going to download something, you can then warn them and be more explicit about what that download is. Number one, and number two, I think you could even highlight it more over there. I think I would change the color of that button away from sort of that off-white gray to something that contrasts with the rest of the site, maybe a red, maybe a green. So I would try that. I think the copy is okay. I do wonder if it could be more compelling. Are you speaking to things that your clients are looking for? So those are all things I would consider. And I don't see a single trust element on the page. I don't see a testimonial. I don't see I don't see logos. I don't see how many customers you have or even like hundreds. I don't see anything like that. No person. So I think there's a number of design and copy things that you could do, take what's already probably a decent conversion rate and make it even better. Moving on. So here we go, callupservice.com. Love the fact there's a try now button prominent here at the top. We've got fairly concise, fairly compelling copy up here. I like that. This blue mark over here, it's a little confusing. It looks like a button to me. I want to click on it, but it's not clickable, so it's slightly confusing over there on the right. And as I go down, it's a pretty fresh website. It says it's a free, down here it says try for free, 30-day free trial. There they've got our reviews badge on there. That's a good trust element. So overall good design. My guess, again, these guys have got to have a decent conversion rate already. Things that I would be testing, let me go click on here to see what their form is. Yeah, just an email address. That's great. That's going to really help their conversion rate. Free trial. I would try now. I'd love to. My guess is they've already tested free trial on there. But I'd just be surprised if try now performance better than free trial. Maybe it does, but I would certainly test that if they haven't. I would probably test this guy's picture over here. Yeah, I love the fact that it's he's probably similar to their target market, which is probably a choice. But you know, I would absolutely test other pictures of other customers or stock images to see how they perform against him. I've seen lots of software vendors test that, and it's amazing how some people in images will outperform others. So I would play with that one. No insults to Kevin there. And I don't really see too many trust elements that are above the fold. So if you can fit, if these guys have hundreds of customers or something respectable, I would put some reference to that on here. But I think overall these guys are doing a great job. There's just a few changes I would think about. Love the fact that you can just start by giving your email address. Pineapple HR. Pineapple HR. So we look at this page, and there's some copy up here at the top. Not bad. I'd be curious if instead of a pineapple and chair on the beach, I'd be wondering if you had. I'd love to test imagery next to that, although I do love how unique that is. There are some pictures of people down here. I do find it interesting that they're trying to get, this is probably their 4 most common target markets, and they're trying to get you in that funnel into here. Interesting. I like that sort of below the fold. Keep coming down. I see more information on them. Here's some logos down here of customers. Not bad. Not a bad website. My guess, again, is these guys have a decent conversion rate. I think they could do better in trust elements up here. I'd love to see a person try it. Again, number of customers, logos, that sort of stuff. It's such a unique header up here. I'd be curious to test this against a different background with the person. Learn more and request demo. These are your main calls to action. Let's click on request demo. That form's a little long. I'd love to see them get rid of that verify code down there at the bottom. Maybe that's protecting them against getting some spam, but my guess is it's also reducing some of their real leads as well, and I wouldn't want to cost that. Unless spam is a horrendous issue for you and 80% of your leads are spam, then I would highly recommend leaving something like that off of here. Comments, I just doubt you get many great comments. Maybe you do. I consider getting rid of that. Number of employees, again, you can qualify them later in the process. Your first step is to capture a lead, and you don't want lead qualification getting in the way of capturing a lead. You paid good money for this person to get to your website, get their email address, so you can reach back out to them in some way. But overall, I think it's I think they've done a decent job on here. Those would be the recommendations I would make. All right, moving on. Primasoft, PC software. So, yeah, a few things as I look on it. This does look like a very dated website design. That's going to be my first concern. This very much looks like 10 to 15 years ago what software sites look like. I'll be a little bit concerned about that. Your call to action on here. Your copy on here is okay. It's not overly compelling. It's in a paragraph. It sort of tells you what you do, but you're using so much language on here that it's not like version 3.1 or all these different versions of Windows. Like lots of stuff on here that's just not necessary at the beginning. So there's a lot of text on here that's distracting, and I would try to focus it in on what's going to be appealing to your target market. So I would tighten up the text. I would renew the design. There's a text link on here, download free trial. Again, I'm nervous even clicking it. This should be a button. not a text link. It should be a big button that contrasts with the rest of the site. I'll click on this anyway. It brings me to this page where it says download now. See, they're not even capturing my contact details. They can't even reach back out to me. So, yeah, you know, your free trial, this should be a free trial button that links to a short form, and that's how I do that one. And again, I don't see, you know, I see software awards over here on the left, but you can do better on trust elements. Moving on. CityInspectionSoftware.com. So get started with a demo. So join the 700 plus inspectors across North America who are using City Reporter for all types of municipal inspections. Love the trust element. Great job there, and it even tells you a little bit about what they do. So not bad at all. Enter your details below. I'm not. It's not a call. Okay, so the call to action is I want a demo now. I guess when I fill all these out, this will become clickable. Not bad. This isn't bad at all. I would say this is probably already getting, when you've got more logos down here. So yeah, I think there's different things you can test. You could test someone's image on here for a trust element. Your form's already pretty good. You know, I'd probably get rid of job titles. You're probably not getting much out of it. I'd even test removing all these checkboxes down here to see if that increases your conversion rate at all. I think this is pretty good. I would probably focus a little bit more on copy on the pain points that your inspectors are looking to solve, to be a little bit more enticing to them. But I think overall, this is pretty well done. Proteus Corporation. All right, wow. Click here to see more of Proteus Express. Yeah, I'm not sure what that even means. It's not much of a call to action. Yeah, this one is not to be harsh here, but this is going to be a do-over on here. I have a hard time reading this. It looks like a very ancient website design. There's the copy on here is in paragraph format. It's not very, you know, it tells me it's travel and leisure. Okay, it's just not overly helpful. It doesn't tell me what it does. It's where the reservations. But what are the pain points that your, you know, travel market? What do they have? What are they looking for? Speak to that. And then you don't really even have a call to action tied to a short form. I have to click on that to go get more information. I don't even see any call to action tied to a short form anywhere on here, and no trust element. So this one's, you know, a lot. You guys just need to start over on this. And again, for any of the people on this call, we're happy to get more details and offer suggestions for good ways to even get that process started. We can recommend landing page tools and all sorts of things. Buswise.net, yeah, I'm sorry to say, but I have similar feedback for this one. The site looks like it was designed back in the 90s. There's a free install button on here. Again, I'm scared. Anything that says installation, I'm scared about. I don't know what might happen to my computer. I'm a little bit afraid of that. When it brings me to this page with all sorts of, I don't even know what I'm supposed to click on this page. But no clear copy on here, no call to action tied to a short form, no trust elements. I can't fathom this page is getting many leads. Moving on to Coast Guard. So certainly better than the prior two. A lot of text on here. I don't like the moving imagery up here at the top going horizontal. A lot of text on here. I'm lost already. I don't even know where to begin to read. So the copy could be way more clear and concise and compelling. You have this Buy Now button. It's in the blind spot up here at the top right. My guess is you get some clicks on that. But gosh, when I come to this page, I don't know what to do. Am I ordering this already? I'm buying it now. And then there's all this stuff at the bottom here. I just can't, if that's your main call to action, I can't imagine you've got a good success rate on that, a good conversion rate on that. I imagine, you know, maybe if you don't, my guess is you don't have a sales team based on this. But if you do have a sales team, gosh, I would think you'd want to be sending them sales leads. and a free demo call to action button on here, something on here to help me get a feel for what you're all about. You mentioned free trial on here. You should have a free trial button on here somewhere to capture the lead, and then you can send them the login or whatever they need. So lots of work I think can be done on that page. We've got a couple left. So next one, A1 Enterprise is their name, and I can't even see that. There's no logo at the top that says A1 Enterprise. It's a little odd. I had to look at the domain and say why A1 down here. That helps a little bit. But lots of text. So the copy on this page is pretty bad. Long paragraphs. There's no quick way for me to see them at the right place. Even your logo at the top. People make companies great. Software makes companies better. I don't even know what you do yet. So I have to read your paragraph to see that you do contract management software. Your call to action, I couldn't even tell this demo world thing over here is clickable. Most people won't even know that. So it goes to this short form. I like the fact that it's short, but again, I'd get rid of the reset button. You don't want people clicking on reset by accident. To be added to this. Fix the copy, add trust elements. This one pretty much needs to start over. Last one we have on here, then we'll open up to questions that may have come up. EQ Mars. So here's an example of a website that, again, so they pretty much need to start over. They're scrolling stuff on the left. I don't know what's going on here in the middle. I have to sign in here or what already. This is almost like I'm already a current customer. It's very, very awkward. No clear, compelling copy. But despite all its faults, the fact that they have an orange free trial button on here, you click on that, we're going to do a terribly long form, but I'll bet they're getting conversions. I'll bet they're getting leads, and I'll bet they've got a conversion rate that's bad, but not that bad. Lots of room for improvement here. This form needs to be shortened. You don't need most of these fields that are on here, not to capture the lead. Maybe in a follow-up, in a secondary form, you can capture some of this stuff, or in a follow-up automated email. You can always get more information later. You just need their name, email, and phone really at the beginning. So shorten the form, and we've just got to fix the website design on here. There's a lot going on here that's hurting them. Back to fluid surveys, and I'm actually going to show you unbounce.com as a tool. I'm going to leave up here as I answer some questions. There's a free pitch for Unbounce. They're a great company. Great way to start revamping your website by doing it with landing pages. So let's start with some questions that have come in. Is it legal to track IP address of visitors? It is completely legal to track their IP address and pull information from their IP address. In fact, their IP address is stored in your log files. You're doing it whether you want to or not. You're getting their IP address. So you might as well figure out where they're coming from based on it. So yes, there's no laws against that. At least not in the U.S., and I can't imagine there's any laws against that anywhere in the world. But that's to my knowledge. I am not a lawyer. But it is absolutely a common practice in the software industry. My opinion of use on video on a page, I think it's done well. I think there was an example or two earlier of companies that had done that. I think that I would test it. I've seen people do that successfully. And as long as it doesn't get in the way of some clear, compelling copy and the other things, I think video can help. How do you trust when starting out? I'm not sure what that means. Again, the trust elements, I think fluid surveys is probably the best example. There's a lot of different trust elements you can use to help gain trust at the beginning. Does get started work as a call to action? I've seen it work. I think it's worth testing. If you can come away with one thing from this, it's test everything. And certainly that for calls to action. I've seen get started work well before, so I'd say it's worth testing. How do you test your own website? Well, so first of all, Unbound comes with A/B testing built in if you want to test landing pages on Capterra or on AdWords or Bing or anywhere else. If you want to test your own website, you can use A/B testing. There's A/B testing tools that exist out there. And I would also absolutely recommend everyone use Google Analytics. So you can start tracking all sorts of things like how many visitors you get in a typical week, what countries they come from, what browsers are they coming from, what pages on their site they're going to, all sorts of stuff like that. How do you ensure proper email addresses are provided? You can't. That's why I asked for phone number. So you might get some invalid email addresses that come in. Often when we do, sometimes they'll miss something that's fairly obvious when they give you their name as well. But yeah, you're going to get some email addresses that aren't perfect. I generally do not ask them to enter it twice. Generally not worth it. But most of the time, people are going to enter their proper email address, and it's generally not a huge issue. How do you use the Capterra review badge as a trust element? It's free for anyone. So every software company can start getting reviews with Capterra, whether they have a free listing with us or a paid listing. And you can download our reviews badge from your vendor portal. Feel free to follow up with us or talk to your main point of contact here at Capterra. They can help you do that. But we have a growing number of software companies that are doing that and using that as a trust element on their websites, and we're hearing great things about it. So definitely recommend it. It's free. The landing page tool, again, I'm on Unbounce right now. I love Unbounce. They did not exist a decade ago. They exist now. They have a tool you can start for free. But it's like $50 a month after that. It's simple to use. You don't need design skills or technical skills to use it. You could build a landing page in this afternoon and have a great landing page by the end of the day. So I highly recommend checking them out. And I'm pretty sure I know we partner with them and can get you additional discounts if that's of interest. So just let us know. We can hook you up with the right person there if that's of interest. Well, we get nothing from that. It's not yet. What makes a website look ancient or outdated? Honestly, I think we all use the web. We all use the web a lot. And designs change over time. Designs have gotten more user-centric over time. And I think anything out of the ordinary, I'd be worried about. And as people surf the web more, they get so used to different user experiences. You want to play on that at the end of the day. And so if you have a website design that was common 10, 15 years ago, like some of the ones that we saw that were very text-heavy, had lots of text links and such, then you're going to put yourself at a disadvantage. Not only will it not convert as well, but it'll be harder to gain the trust. So I think it just comes down to being in sync with what the more current website designs are. It doesn't mean you always have to do the new thing. Again, there are new things that aren't good things, like some of the animation that can be distracting. It can be a bad idea. At the end of the day, the goal of your website is to generate leads, and that's the most important thing to focus on, and that's what you should be testing and designing around. Conversion rates, what's reasonable? So I would say average conversion rate that we not only see here at Capterra, but hear about from our vendors on their Google campaigns and whatnot, would be in the single digits. I would say 2 to, conversion rates here at Capterra, our averages are in the 5 to 10% range. It's actually about double the industry average, which is more in the sort of 2 to 6% range. But while our averages are in the 5 to 10% range, again, we see plenty of customers that are double that are well in the double digits. I'm not sure I've ever seen 30%, but I've definitely seen up into the 20s, and most vendors pop out at around 15 to 20%. While this can vary, it will vary a bit by industry, in a number of things. So these are just general rules. There are some sectors I've seen where the best I've seen where 5 to 10% is awesome, and you'll never get better than that. But as a general rule, those are the numbers that I'd be shooting for. If you are a brand new product with no customers, what can you use for trust elements? That's a great question. So site design can be one. Obviously, you're not going to be able to use customer logos. And again, that's why it's a great thing to go out if you're a new product to get 4, 5, 6, give it away for free. It's a very common tactic for new software companies or new software products is to give it away for free to a few high-profile customers, and then you can use their logos. But at the end of the day, until you have those beta customers, you won't be able to use testimonials or numbers of customers or those sort of things as trust elements. You'll have to rely on your just overall design as a trust element at the beginning. So you'll be hurt by a little bit, but at the end of the day, I've seen websites with no trust elements at all that have a great overall design and have a great strong call to action tied to a short form, have good compelling copy, and they still convert very well. But good trust elements will help you go from good to great. But you don't need them to still have a solid conversion rate. Okay, another question here. This is probably the time for the last one here. We wanted to end at 3. Again, my guess is you all have things to do, so we'll end with this one. Long paragraphs are good for SEO. So how do you deal with that, having less text? That is a great question. So with SEO, showing up high in organic search results on Google, Yahoo, and Bing is obviously a priority. And having text on your site is certainly a factor in that. So let's be clear. Your landing pages, your home page, even your product page, the copy on those pages should be clear, concise, compelling. You can always have lots of other content in paragraph format on other pages of your site. But the main landing pages that you have, which are typically going to be your home page and a product page or your landing pages, particularly the above the fold text needs to be very focused on converting visitors into leads, and that's going to be clear, concise, compelling copy. So save your longer copy for either below the fold or on inner pages within your site for SEO purposes. So that'd be my recommendation. At the end of the day, it's not even for SEO purposes. That also jives with what many end users will want to read more information about your product. So I think you need to go into lots of those details. You just need to do it on inner pages. So allow them to give them text links to learn more, to get more product features and all those details. You're just doing a smart linking strategy within your website to build all those up. So we're going to end it there. I hope this has been useful for you. If you have follow-up questions, don't hesitate to email me at mike@capterra.com or your main point of contact here. If your main point of contact here will be on our biz dev team, and everyone here is trained on the same stuff that I've been going over here today. So anyone on our team will be able to help you with some of these ideas. And I hope this has been fruitful for you. Would love to hear feedback from you. Apologize again for the snafus at the beginning. But at this point, we are done for now. I hope you enjoyed this and have a great rest of the day. Thanks. Bye-bye.